at this point because I'm tired. But learning a lot about myself and about, standing your ground and things like that. Just like now, I left CVS. When I came out of there, I made my purchases. I really didn't want a paper receipt. I would prefer that they email me the receipt. But I guess the woman probably didn't want to put in the email address. So she was like, oh, just go ahead and hit print the receipt. And then I realized, I was like, well, you can't do an email receipt. They don't send the coupons on the email. And she was like, yeah, they do, but you got to select that. So when I left, I realized that she just didn't feel like typing an email address. So she engineered me to do the print receipt, right? So, so now I want to go back in and see. I hate it when I get like this, because like when I feel like somebody has duped me, and it's not going to make any difference unless I like returned everything and repurchased it. But I guess part of me wants to make it clear that, hey, I understood that you just didn't want to do it. So probably what I will say is something like, hey, so if I wanted to let me clarify, when you sent if I wanted to get the email receipt, if I had hit email instead, how does that work? Does the email receipt come to me and the email receipt come with the coupons on it? So when you say that if I select email instead of selecting print receipt, if I had selected email, it would have went to my email, right? So this guy creeps me out. Okay, so we're going to take a pause break right here because let's take a quick pause. So as I'm going through the store, I myself am trying not to be creeped out. But yeah, so, and I need to not be like that. But let's see how this goes. I just turned it on, so I'm not turning it back off. Let me ask about it.
What happened?
So why did you look at her like that? So I walked in, and I guess this girl looked at her funny. So she asked her why because I came in. So why did you look at her like that? I'm curious. I want to know.
No, you were just here.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
And then you asked me, why am I here? Is that what you asked me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. That's what you said.
What happened?
No, I didn't say it was bad at all. I just said, is that what you said?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, don't feel self-conscious about it. If you said it, stand on it.
Okay.
So ain't nothing
it's just that, I don't like people that just usually walked away and didn't come back. And I was like, I messed up.
Well, I came back. Yeah, you did actually.
What
so
happened?
not really messed up. I'm just being smart ass.
What happened?
No, and it's not what happened, but I'll let you explain it to me. So my question is this: when you check out and it asks you if you want to have an email receipt or if you want to print the receipt and so forth and so on. So if you choose to get the email receipt, does it actually email you the coupons? Okay.
Yeah, it emails everything.
So I'm going to let her help me because you've already helped me for today. So it'll email you the coupons, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, because that was my question. Because when I checked out, I selected to have the text messages. And I guess she didn't know that I was going to ask for the text messages. She's like, oh, you want to? I said, yeah, And I guess it took a little bit longer, so I went on and punched it in. No problem. So then the next question that came up after we went through all that was, do you want the email receipt or do you want the print receipt? So I was going to select the email receipt through social engineering because I guess she didn't want to have to type in the email. She says, oh, hit print receipt. So I hit print receipt because, again, human nature, somebody tells you to do it, you do it, and you don't think about it. And so then I asked her afterwards, I said, I said, well, don't you, she was telling me, oh, you get the coupons here. And I said, don't you get the coupons when you do the email receipt too? She says, yes, you do, but you have to select it. And I'm like, okay, but wasn't that the process where we were at to select it? I didn't say that, but I'm thinking about that. So let me ask you this. If I wanted to get this emails to me, because I don't like to carry a lot of paper because I have enough clutter in my life as possible. Is there a way that we can do that now? where I can
there
have
where
a
we can do
copy of
that?
this email to me?
All right, show me how to do that then, because I've never done
Oh,
that.
good. So now we get 2 people involved. Okay. 754.
Oh, shoot, I'm signed on to that one down there.
Okay, sign. Well, you can just sign it again. And override yourself.
You got your, I got my
You
keys
can.
on me.
I don't have keys either.
Just
Well, I
hit
do,
the
but I
enter.
don't have a. You wanna?
Oh, shoot, that's what you gotta do.
That's why you.
Wendy, just put your,
But that's okay.
well, good morning, y'all. No, okay, so we go into this right here.
It doesn't matter whichever one, yeah. And phone number one more time.
Okay, what's your phone number, dear?
754 300 0447.
Okay, go to extra care. And you see on the top that it says prompt. Right here. She just wants email.
Email.
And then
Okay.
update.
Okay, so I have a question about that before you do it though. So when you go and do just email, yeah, that's why you should always ask. But that wasn't your fault.
But you can
So,
hit the cancel.
okay, so let me ask the question though, because it might not be necessary.
Okay.
So when you do this, I have time, so if you want to help her, that's fine too. But when you do and we can wait if
Next
she has a
line.
question. So when you do the email
Yeah.
receipt, does that mean that whenever I come in and I use my phone number, it's always going to go to email, or do I always have
You
the
have to
option?
select it.
Okay, so it'll always ask me,
Yes, ma'am.
even if I hit email for this time.
It should ask you how you want it. Most of the time it will.
Yeah, so you
So,
always have to
yeah.
have the bar.
Okay.
But then you also got like right here you see where it says email, then you got email plus print.
Let's do email plus print. Well, I already got the print version, but you can do email plus print. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So we'll do this. Oh,
Okay.
hit the cancel button on that one.
So edit, it says edit or submit. So
Yeah,
hit
do the-
edit.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, so
And
we'll
it's
go
gonna,
right here.
and we'll do, it's gonna ask you right
Get your booty over here.
there. You have a good night.
And it does it have my email? It should have it does. So that would have been easy. The email's in there already.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
And then do you have to hit update again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
And then my turn.
Yes, ma'am.
Always email and print. Okay. Okay.
Okay, and it's still your turn.
Okay. And then read the opt-in. Yep.
And then it's been updated.
Okay, perfect. So this this transaction may or may not go on in, right? Because it's over with pretty
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
Okay. Is there a way that you can go back into it and make that one go in there?
Okay. There's no way for the recent transaction to be emailed, is there?
No.
So,
Okay. So I think that was the question that I had initially, and I think she said yeah. But okay, we got it straightened out. So, yeah, is she the manager? Both of those are.
all three.
All three of you are managers.
Shift.
Assistant.
She's the operations shift.
Oh, operations manager,
She's the main manager.
the main manager. Okay, shift manager, and she's a shift manager too. Okay, cool. Can I talk to her when everybody's done if they have time?
You can yell at her.
No, I don't yell. That's not. I don't have the energy. I barely had the energy to come back in, and I barely had the energy to address that. But sometimes I think it's important that you do. You know,
Yes, ma'am.
you can speak up for yourself without being loud and aggressive,
Right.
because that's how you learn. You know, and that's also how you teach people that want to learn. So,
There you go.
yeah,
Teach and learn, right?
that is true. But only the people that want to, though. Not everybody wants to.
Yes, ma'am. That is.
2179. It's gonna ask you something on the screen. It's gonna ask you something one more time. That's asking you if you want to receive it.
We need 4 care packs. Y'all better get them care packs.
2179 out of 21.
I just go play guitar.
And it's gonna ask you how you You want any? Have a good night. Thank you. Have a good night. CBS fine. I'm gonna let you put it
Yeah, that's good. It said there 75%.
I'm gonna ask this question right here. So if you have the body spray back here, so nobody would take it, why would you put it on the 4-foot section?
Those are questions that we don't ask.
I'm about to ask you a question that people don't ask too when you finish with her.
Look. When you got a person that they know it all, you should let them be. How much?
Thank you. Did you want your receipt, sir?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay.
There we go. You get the code, Daddy. You did it.
Hey, I'll try to be fast. I'm gonna ask a question that people don't ask. So, I just came in here and I purchased these 2 items, and the machine gave me an option to get an email receipt or a print receipt. I would have selected email receipt. The cashier prompted me to hit print receipt, so I did. Then I asked in hindsight, hey, do I still get the coupons if I get the email receipt? She said, yeah. So I want the email receipt. She was nice enough to go through and make it so in the future it does email and print always.
Okay.
Can you somehow get this to be emailed to me? Are you able to go into the system?
You can do it and do it in that.
In the app, yeah. Only if you download the app. Yes. Not in store.
You need to hire her. Okay.
Look at there. We
I
all
think I
learned
can.
something
I
new.
think I can manage that. Okay.
And just so you saw you.
Ah.
Just go to the.
I'm going to go in and try to learn how to do. You about to try to teach me right now? All right, y'all. Have a good night. Thank you. All right. So was that a complete waste of time? I guess in some aspects, yeah, it was. But in other aspects, no, because it needed to be called out. And I didn't really catch the attitude at first. And it's probably because of my appearance, for one, and probably because I'm tired. And when you're tired, your demeanor is probably what that was. I didn't, but there was no original attitude when it all came about. But when I came back, and I wouldn't caught it, there was a lady, and like I said, when people, homeless mentality, when people aren't fed love and spoons, they lick it off of knives. So I was just so happy, feeling like, oh, and I don't know what I look like because I didn't look in the mirror, but I'm sure it's pretty bad as usual. It's just a one-piece romper, and I don't think even the back, I don't think I fixed the back of the thing or whatever, but whatever. But so, and of course the fro, which I love, by the way. But I wouldn't have even known that the girl had an attitude, except that when I walked in, I wasn't paying attention to the facial expression of the people. The girl, I guess, made some kind of look. The Spanish lady made some kind of look to the white. There's a Spanish lady, a white lady, and perhaps a black, light-skinned black or Dominican Spanish person, right? So when I walked in, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't looking. And so that's something else I have to learn, is to make sure that when I walk into places and I look, that I'm looking at people's faces, right? And so that's what I need to do. So what ends up happening is as soon as I walk in, I wasn't looking, so I didn't see. And had the lady not said nothing, I wouldn't have paid no attention. I probably would have felt the vibe or the energy was, a little low, but I'm just thinking it's me because I'm tired, right? So I hear, why'd you look at me like that? So I'm looking up and I was like, hey, well, why did you look at her like that, And so then, well, you guys heard the whole conversation, but the thing about it is, I wouldn't have noticed. And that woman didn't have to say that. A lot of times when people communicate with, and that was a white woman that said that, when people communicate with each other, especially when you're looking at coworkers, and especially, I hate to say it, when it's ghetto black folks, but this wasn't black. This was a Latin woman, but it was also, and this is not a racial thing, because when you're looking at it, was actually a Latin woman that says, hey, you can go in on your app and fix this yourself too, But, the first thing that lady did was, from the, I'm trying to watch traffic and talk and not be tired because I'm about to feel like I'm about to fall asleep on my feet right now. But, and I don't know why. I think it's because, like, I've been walking a lot the past couple of days. I think I get overexhausted when I walk a whole lot in the heat because the heat index has been really high. But, stop. See, this is against the pedestrian thing that the light is green here. But if I wait until that pedestrian thing changes, then the light for the other light changes too. And so then the people, the traffic, the cars that are trying to go the same way I go, they'll keep going. They don't yield for pedestrians, so you'll just be standing there. And then if you try to go when the light is actually, when the pedestrian light is actually on for you to go, then you'll get run over because, like I said, like now it's the wrong color too. But I gotta run now because the light's about to change. But yes, I made it. But anyhow, that's the whole thing. Was that whole thing a waste? I don't think so, because I think it needed to be known that, hey, you know, you sent me on a stupid loop that you didn't have to, and it didn't even require you to do all that, you know. And then I think that was important. I don't think it was a complete waste, you know. As far as my time and energy, you know, if I had 50 million pressing things to do, which I do, but it's all at home, and you know, this is part of my learning and growth process, you know, speaking up for yourself, and assertion, and you know, getting clarification. Now, could something really else have been done? Yeah, but I was satisfied of the fact that she knew that I caught it. I was satisfied of the fact that the coworker, actually, like I said, she could have went along with it and not said anything. She could have not said anything and just kind of went along with it because she was new. But because this is an older woman, older white, she reminded me of Strawberry Shortcake, because she was an older woman, an older white woman, you know, because she was an older woman, an older white woman, I guess she didn't have time for those types of games. You know, just because you look at somebody weird, or just because you have an opinion that's negative, or you're unprofessional, I'm not going to jump on that. You know what I'm saying? Whereas there have been places, here's the Piggly Wiggly, I'm walking past it now, where, you know, it just so happens that everybody's black, but it's not a racial thing. I think I do notice the racist difference because, like I said, I'm around more black people, but that was a Latin woman that was disrespectful. And again, I wouldn't have caught it because I'm the kind of person I always blame myself first. You know, I've never been the kind of person to blame somebody else first. I blame me first. Oh, I'm just tired. My energy's low. But no, this person was definitely rude. I just didn't pick up on it. I didn't pick up on it at first because, like I said, had the white woman not said nothing, you know, you ever walk into a place and you feel like, oh, you know, the energy's kind of nasty, but maybe it's just me and it makes you feel self-conscious. I didn't feel self-conscious. I walked in there, I didn't really feel like, you know, addressing it, but I did, you know, and I feel good about that. You know, could it have ended a few ways? Yeah, but I feel good about that because if it was across the board where every single person responded rudely or jumped on a bandwagon with that person, then I would have all the information that I need to know. They're just like Piggly Wiggly, you know, with their 10% plus, and Mr. B's IGA with their 10% plus and expired items that they sell. And, you know, with Piggly Wiggly, in addition to that, the rude customer service or lack of, you know, I don't need to go there, you know, so that will let you know, do I need to come back to this place or not? If they don't appreciate me there, I don't need to go back. But it was just that one person, you know, and I don't know why she had an attitude. Maybe because she was speaking in Spanish with that lady. I understood half, and she told her that the total came up to 31 cents. And I was like, did you just, it came up to 31 cents, you know? So just, you know, all of that. And sometimes it's really not you. Sometimes it's things that people have with other people, you know. So this is the way I look. And like I said, that gray patch. I love that gray patch, y'all. I think that is just jazzy. That's actually one of the things that I wished for when I was little, like one little gray streak. And I have it. I have the gray streak. And I don't know what the back of my hair looks like. Hopefully I don't have any lint. I think in the house I shouldn't have lint balls or nothing crazy like that. But that's what I look like. This is what I look like, okay? And it is what it is. So I needed to get out to get the toothpaste, and that's what I did. I went out and I got it. But yeah, so I felt that, like I said, if you look at it just from a time aspect, look at this one white hair. I need my tweezers. If you look at it just from a time aspect, and if you want to find something to be frustrated about, you can be like, oh, that was a big waste of time. But for me, it wasn't, because this is part, again, like I said, of my learning process. I need to learn to be more assertive. And if I put myself in situations when things like that happen, where I have to address it, then it'll make me more aware, so that I don't have to come back and address those things. It'll make me aware in that moment that, hey, this needs to be addressed in this moment, So yeah, definitely something. I feel good about it, and it also showed me human nature across the board in a good light. And I need to see positive things. The positive thing I saw was that white lady. Had she not said, hey, why did you look at me like that, I wouldn't have known that the girl looked at her in any kind of way. I would have felt just that my energy was low, and I would have blamed me and said, just my energy is low. Look at this. I hate it when every now and then I start blinking. But just my energy is low. I would have just blamed it on me. That my energy is low. And that's what it is. But no, this person had enough energy to be the way that they were, So yeah. And that white woman, the stuff that she was asking, they were like, oh, those are questions you don't ask, because they keep something, I guess, locked behind whatever thing, I guess, I don't know if y'all heard that conversation, to keep people from stealing it. But then they also have stuff, the same thing, in the middle of the aisles, so, it defeats the purpose. And they were like, oh, we don't ask those questions, And so now they were kind of rude to her, and that's what I need to do, learn to speak up for other people, because they were rude to her when I think about it, because then they were just like, oh, people, we let people that think they know everything, know everything. So I didn't catch that. See, and that's the kind of person, because if you're not a rude person by nature, you don't catch that kind of stuff. You don't catch it until you walk off and you're like, wait a minute, just like when that woman told me, I had those choices. So don't let anybody dictate your choices. She said, hey, press the print receipt button. No, ma'am, there's options there, So in the future, be alert and aware, even if you're tired. And sometimes it's hard, because like I said, I walk a lot, and by the time I get to where I'm going, I'm exhausted. Had the same situation happen when I was in the Dollar Tree the other day, or similar, where I got there and I walked with my red cart to go pick up groceries or whatever like that. A few situations. So I'm learning to address these things. And like I said to that woman, they were like, oh, you can go curse out this woman. No, that's not me. That's not my personality. I'm not cursing out nobody. That's not what I do. And you see how she categorized that, and she was joking, because I don't think I come off as somebody that's going to curse somebody out, But the woman, the girl, actually said, why are you here again? That's what she said. And I heard that. And then she was like, oh, but I didn't mean it in any rude way or whatever like that. You meant it the way. I just asked if you said it. If you said it, you said it. And it's okay. Just like that girl that walked across the yard and she said all those things she said it. She said it. If you said it, that's fine. You said it. The only thing, it's okay for you to say it. It's okay to say whatever you want to say. It's how I choose to respond to it and react to it. As far as I go, that's what's important to me. How do I choose to respond and react to that? And no, she said, you can go cuss her out. No, that's not what I do. I learn. My thing is to learn. You can address something without being aggressive. Absolutely. Absolutely. You absolutely can. And maybe because I'm dressed like this and I look like this, but that's not who I am. When I look at myself, I don't see that. Even when you look at the legal things, everything is soft-spoken. I don't consider myself to be soft-spoken, but maybe this and that, because maybe they can't hear me, but I don't consider myself to be soft-spoken, but I'm definitely not aggressive. Assertive, at times, yeah. Was I, I think the exchange was appropriate. And I think we did all learn something, and I hope that, that beautiful white lady, I call her Miss Strawberry Shortcake, because again, I didn't catch it to the end, but they were being shady towards her, like, oh, when somebody thinks they know everything. I didn't catch that. And I used to get that too, Just because you look for answers and try to do things right the way doesn't mean that you know everything. Even when I look at the shipment of my equipment for number 7, okay, not that I know everything, and they were respectful enough, for number 7, they treated me with respect throughout, addressed every concern, with the equipment and stuff. I was just like, they were telling me, oh, when the background check is finished, we'll send you the equipment. I'm like, okay, fine. The next thing you know, I'm getting the email the next day saying, oh, we're sending you the equipment, and once the background check is complete, we'll send you, the reporting details. I'm like, wait a minute. No, don't send me any equipment if the background check hasn't been complete. No, I don't want to be liable or held liable for that, because that causes a lot of work for everyone. Because if you send me something and the background check is not complete, it's a liability. And I don't like liabilities. Liabilities cost time, money, headache, and I don't want that. That's not okay with me. I don't want that liability. So I said, well, I recommend that you hold off on sending anything until the background check is complete. Then I'm advised the background check is complete. And I'm like, and we're gonna go ahead and send it. And I told them they could place it on hold if it's not complete, but no, we're gonna go ahead and send it. I'm like, okay, fine. So send it, But then they tell me it's complete. Then I get some inquiry from the background check company. And I'm like, wait a minute, you told me it's complete, but why are they sending me a request? And then they explain to me, and it's all about education, And I do technical support and customer service, and I've been doing that for a long time in different industries. Y'all know I don't stay nowhere too long, but that's the thing about it though, and that's my thing, educating people, educating the customer. When you're an employee, when you have an employer-employee relationship, the customer is your employee. We're customers to each other, you and your coworkers, and it's about education. When you have people that are part of your team, whether it's an employee, employer, coworkers, supervisor, that are informed and educated about the process, properly informed and educated, because I told you for number 6, I was given some information that didn't match up with what actually happened. So to me, that's so important, educating the people that you work with, whether it be clients, customers, superiors, coworkers, whatever, and setting the proper expectations so that people know what to expect. Don't tell them that you're going to do X, Y, Z and you don't do it. Those things are paramount to me, and those things I'm really good at. This person's lights are not on. I wish they knew, but they don't. But okay, I don't have a flashlight or anything. I guess I'll do on the phone, but it's too late now, they're gone. Hopefully they turn their lights on, they'll figure it out. But one thing, and I have to watch for this, because legally, one thing, like I said, how number 6 wore me out with all this, false expectations, doing things that really didn't make sense. And like one of my former employers told me, hey, Maria, if it doesn't make sense, that means something's wrong. So something's wrong, And any, yeah, so that's not a good look for me. But I think I can cross one more street here and be okay. But yeah, that's what's important to me. And at follow-up, as long as I feel like I'm connected and engaged, as far as employees and employers and stuff like that, follow-up is on point. Technical skills on point. There's never there's never a time. My resolution percentage was always like 97%, 97.5%, right? Because I believe in that. I believe in resolving problems. I believe in that. I believe in educating customers. And for me, a customer is not just your client or the end customer. It's also the people you work with. But there's a difference in the way that I manage. There's a difference in the way that I manage like worker relationship customers versus versus, there's a difference in the way that I manage worker relationship customers versus, like total end user customers. I'm laying out the red carpet. Any and everything that I can do 1,000%, I will do it. But when it comes to working relationships, that's a two-way. End user customer relationships, I'm glad to be one way all the way, anything and everything I can. But when I look at like your employers, your co-workers, to me it's more of a two-way thing. There has to be give and take. You have to be able to get information that's reliable. You have to be able to get, have expectations that are set that are reliable and dependable. When you don't, it breaks the chain. And that's not at all, what I'm about. And so, I don't know, like I said, I truly believe, and I think, and this is why I'm surprised they hired me, because there was a question that asked, did I have any regrets? And I guess because of my demeanor, I don't have any regrets. And that's all. I don't have any regrets because I see where I can do things better and I work towards doing them better. What else are you going to do? Like I mentioned about how on number 6, the guy's name was different and I asked where the name was. It's an innocent question, but it led to that man getting off the phone almost in tears. Do I have a regret about that? No, because I acknowledge that, hey, I learned from that. And because I learned from that, that's something I'm gonna be very, when it comes to work, I'm not going to, make mention of that, because if you have a person, especially somebody that believes that rightfully has a superior position, or believes that they should, or wants to be on that path, and you unintentionally break them down to the point of where, there's tears or their demeanor changes, then, who wants to feel that way? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but, they asked me, did I have any regrets? No, I don't have any regrets at all about my life. I'm very happy and very proud of my life, and this journey that I'm going on, I'm happy about, maybe in the eyes of others, like I said, me walking down the street or me walking into that store, maybe in their eyes or the eyes of others in general, maybe they don't see, worth in somebody that doesn't spend a whole lot of money on hair and nails and doesn't go to the gym and pay money to work out and doesn't, walk around with the perfumes and Lord knows I just put on rags and come right on outside, and I'm okay with that if I'm getting to A to B, but I'm aware of, instances and situations where, that may deter communications, but I'm proud of my life. I like who I am. I like the fact that I try to do the right thing. And like that underhanded comment that they made, shifted to the other girl of where when people think they know everything. You know what I'm saying? I've had that said about me. When I had that legal thing, that was the thing. They were going to show me. They were going to show me, you think you know everything, and they felt good about it, and that's okay. It's okay, but, that's the whole thing, I absolutely love and enjoy my life. I absolutely love and enjoy my life. I wouldn't want to be, anyone else. There have been times when I thought about, hey, I love Beyonce's work ethic, but, there's probably other things going on I don't like, but each of us have our individual lives and they are so full of treasure. I mean, for me, I wouldn't want to be anybody else. I mean, I love the way that I think. I love the way that I am. I love the way that I have loved. I love the lessons that I have learned. I love where I'm going. I like the way my mind works. I love the fact that I like technology. I love the fact that I like humanity, but I also love the fact that I love myself, and that's everything that I always talk about: technology, humanities, and self-love. And so that was the question. They actually asked that in the interview, do you have any regrets? But I think because they probably know I've been worn down, or maybe they watch my YouTube, and they see, and maybe they heard that story, about the guy's name and how he broke down and, basically by the end of the thing where he was supposed to be helping me, he was in tears, and that was the end of it. but no, I don't have any regrets about that, because you live and you learn, you're not gonna be perfect. I saw this thing where Trevor Noah did a commentary about Lizzo, and I don't really listen to the radio that much or anything new and popping or whatever, all of my exposure to everything outside of what I create is basically TikTok at this point for the most part, and my personal real life interactions. But he made a commentary about Lizzo and I saw this somewhere, but I didn't know what song they were talking about, because I love Lizzo for who she is and how down to earth she is, but I don't really listen to all the music and stuff. If they start really talking about a song a lot, I'll intentionally go find it and listen to a piece of it. But there was a song called Girls, and in one part she was talking about going to the party and spazzing out, and then I guess in Europe or New England or England, not New England, England somewhere, the BK, whatever, over there, over the British side of things, they were upset with her because it was like spaz talks is a derogatory statement about a disability, like seizures or something. And she nicely apologized and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's not what I intended for it to do. I'll change it." She changed it, and they all jumped on her, was talking about, "Oh, but she's fat, she should know better because people say derogatory things about," and then he was like, "That's just ridiculous." And it is, what else can she do? She apologized, she corrected it immediately. I think they asked Cardi B about it. And like I said, I'm not into celebrities, but these are the people they talk about. And she was just like, "I would tell them to suck a you-know-what," And Trevor Noah, he really addressed that appropriately, And I don't know, I don't have any regrets because, like Lizzo, you live and you learn, you learn. One motto that I saw, around the world was, do no harm, but take no, take no crap. And I like that, you don't do anything to hurt or harm anyone. Whether, again, hurt and harm is not just physical, but mental, spiritual, socially. You don't do anything to hurt anyone, but on the same note, you take no crap. So yeah. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But yeah, so I don't know. But so you guys saw the interaction. I feel good about it. But tell me. But I guess really on the other hand too, y'all don't see the whole thing. Y'all can't see me. Well, y'all see me, but in that particular instance, you didn't. You can't see. What am I hearing? Oh, it's a car. Okay, you can't see. What I look like walking up. So, but I take accountability for the way that I look, And that's what it is. Easy to put on one piece. Just pull it on up and head on out. That's what I did. I pulled it up and headed out. But yeah, and sometimes, and now, at this great old age where I'm not, as attractive and all of this and all that, I still love myself. I think I'm beautiful in a different way. And I absolutely adore me. I love me, just like each and every other person in this world should adore and love themselves. Sometimes I say things, that I like to improve upon. I don't have any regrets, but I adore me, and I think everyone should adore themselves. I love me a lot. I don't know. So I feel good about that interaction. Like I said, it was something to be learned. Now, in different environments, can we see how that goes? Yeah. We saw how it went when the woman walked across my yard, but I understood that too, I understood that. Like I said, the analytical side of things, you think about what was said and why it was said. I understood all of it, and I understood the whys behind it. In that situation, I wasn't expecting it. I wouldn't have known about it if the white lady hadn't said anything like, "Why did you look at me like that?" And I appreciated that 100%. 100%, 1,000% even. But yeah, so I don't think I even have to worry. I like to think I don't have to worry about safety, because it doesn't appear to be absolutely anybody around, and I'm really tired. But I just wanted to share that. But what was creepy too was that white guy that walked across at the end that I was showing y'all, he didn't have no shoes on. I think he might be like undercover or something. And I don't know, I always get the feeling, and like I said, in Piggly Wiggly, I should have asked him, do you think that I'm doing something like that? And they said no. But you don't know what people are thinking, because I think he was undercover something, because he kept following me around the store. He kept coming in and following me around the store with no shoes on. So it was kind of creepy. And then maybe when the lady mentioned about the perfumes or whatever, and why do you have them locked behind the counter if there's a middle aisle with them out there? Maybe something was said about me. Maybe they felt that, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. When I go into stores, I do take a long time. And so maybe she said that too because she wanted me to address that too. Maybe she wanted me to have something to say about that. But again, that's something I wasn't aware of. And if you've ever been through the legal system, the first thing that they try to say, and that makes you really, just like that lady, like that engineering, that I don't want to call it is social engineering, where she says, oh, choose print receipt, and that's not what I wanted. Not what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? But it's engineering, so it's manipulating, the way that you treat a person to get a person to behave a certain way or to classify a certain way. Like that woman said, oh, you can go over there. And she was just joking. She was joking. She's like, you can go over there and curse her out. No, ma'am, that's not what I do. And so you learn within each interaction. Because remember I told you about Piggly Wiggly and how the girl was saying, and I didn't catch it that time. So I didn't say anything and I let it go. I didn't catch it to the end after I got off the phone that, hey, I should have addressed that, because that was just like, oh, I should have addressed that because I didn't get into it with anyone. I asked the question, the girl didn't have an answer. I spoke to the manager. I advised the manager of the situation and, got the final answer. And that was it, And so you have to be careful, because sometimes even when people are joking, like the girl from the Piggly Wiggly, she wasn't joking about that. And maybe she didn't have malicious intent in saying it. They didn't have malicious thought. And it's like a phone game. And somebody said, if she said that I got into it with somebody, to me, then it's okay for her to say that to someone else. And though she may not have meant it that way, someone else may intentionally or unintentionally, put it in that light. And before you know it, that's the reputation that you have. And like I said, if you've ever been accused of something or in a situation, you understand that when we were little, we grew up that your reputation is everything, 70s baby, okay? But then later on you're taught, what other people say don't matter, So, but my final prognosis on all that is everything in moderation, You can't be totally neglectful of the opinions or oblivious to the opinions of others, but you can't put so much merit in it that it paralyzes you and you become what others say you are, right? So I think, that's the one plus side of the legal thing, because if, somebody says on paper or this, that you're this, that, and the other, and that was the toughest thing ever, because especially if you're young and you've always done all good, but then you come to the point where you realize that it's a middle ground, that people's opinions can affect your life, but it's your responsibility to not let that paralyze you from being who you are, for standing firm. Like I said to that lady about, stand 10 toes down in it. Don't let it paralyze you from standing 10 toes down in it, And so, I don't know, with that said, I love myself more and more each day. I really do. I mean, it's a joy. It's a joy to be. It's a joy to be me. I'm very, very happy and proud of me, and not me alone, because I know that, life is a gift. I don't have to be here. I could have walked across that street and got me. Somebody could have walked up behind me and boop, got me in the head, and that's the end of me, There's people that have been taken out of here like that. So I'm very glad that the universe the world has seen fit to give me, another day, to enjoy the sunshine, to enjoy long evening walks, to have an opportunity to improve and better myself, in those types of situations, like that type of situation. Will I always have time to address those things? No. But then that's when I take it home and I address it with myself, and I determine, the next time that happens, how will I address it? And that Piggly Wiggly situation, the time when the woman said, "Oh, you can curse her out," I was like, no. But that might have been because it was in person. It was different in person, because I think on the phone I was ready to go. But oh, you can go curse her out. No, ma'am, that's not what I do. That's not what I do. That's not me. I don't have the energy. And it's true. It's really true. I don't have the energy. I barely had the energy to come back to address this situation. So I don't have any energy to get loud with somebody. That's not the type of energy that I have. Not at all. And, I talked about, why it could have been that she acted that way. I said, well, maybe my appearance, because look at me. Last time I took a shower was this morning. And, I got rained on when I went out and about today, And I know God truly loves me because of the experiences that I have. And I don't have a chance to share them all, here. And maybe some things God wants me to keep private, sacred in my heart about things that, are gifted to me through my walk in life, for better or for worse, Yeah. And then lessons I can learn about being, like I said, again, that type of person that haven't been fed love off of spoons, so you lick it off of knives. So somebody gives you, my goal might have been to get my toothpaste and conditioner, but I came out with so much more, which is great, but that wasn't the original reason I went. And maybe it's a good thing, because I hadn't planned on going to that place today, but everything sort of lined up, and it's too much to talk about. Everything lined up the way it should, and all the coincidences. And maybe I didn't get that there because maybe God wanted me to learn the hard lesson too. I don't like, having to address stuff like that. But, God wanted me to do that too, And he wanted to show me. And to me, that was a good thing, where there was a woman that worked there. The other woman looked at her with a certain look when I came in. And she was like, well, why did you look at me like that? And she said it because she wanted me to hear it. So I'm like, yeah, why did you look at her like that? I want to know. What was the look for? What are you doing here? Oh, I didn't mean it in a bad way. Yes, you did. You meant it exactly the way that you said it. And if you didn't mean it that way, it's no need for you not to say that you didn't mean it in that way, because you would know that, that your tone wouldn't have indicated that. I wasn't thinking about that either way. You said it however you meant it is whatever it was, My thing is to just have an understanding and respond to it appropriately. So, Lord Jesus, I'm so scared. God, I just need to get in the house. Okay. So, I don't know why I'm cutting through here because this place is locked. But I think it's just because I don't want to be in a situation, So, got bugs everywhere. All right, so yeah, I think God wanted me to learn that and see that, because the experience that I typically have, because again, this wasn't that long of a walk. This walk was maybe a mile, and not in the blazing hot sun. But if it had been 2 miles and the sun was beaming down on the head, maybe I wouldn't have had the breath to address it. But that's the thing, strength training. I have to learn, because I do walk. I walk a lot, and sometimes the weather or temperature may not be conducive to it, but I have to learn to always keep my whereabouts about me and know and be aware, know there may be situations where I have to address something, or I should address something, because that's a part of the learning process. If you don't never, ever address anything, you don't ever learn. And that's a big part of it, is learning to, okay, so is this the same car? I hope not, because I really, like I said, I don't want to be kidnapped. I'm not a kid, but, I don't want nothing to happen to me. That's not what I want. So, yeah. So, in other news, So when I went to go get my my stuff that I went to pick up today, like I said, normally I would go to Dollar Tree, but there is got to go back to the nonprofit story. So here's a nonprofit story. We're gonna roll back a couple days to Mr. B's IGA, and if I roll back that far, so I was coming out the store, and there were, and I'm gonna say it the way that I felt it. There was somebody sitting out there, soliciting pretty much. And they had tables and chairs and buckets or whatever, so it was legit, right? And so it was legit. And they started asking me something, and I was just like, did I want to donate? And I was just like, well, really, all people really need is your time, right? And I went on. And then when I came out, I thought about it, and I was like, hey, what I should really be interested in is, what is it that they're doing? And basically, to be able to sit outside, I assume you just talk to a manager. Mr. B's wouldn't be my place of choice, so. But maybe so, you never know. But, but what is it that they're doing? Who do they work with? And I'm assuming that they're local, right? So let's look at me again. So I'm assuming that they're local, right? So as I start to speak to them, I realize that they're like teenagers, like somewhere between 13 and 16. And not good teenagers that seem like they come from homes. But when I say teenagers, I mean like, there's a dead animal in the fucking street. Okay, I keep walking past that. And I walk on the other side. One, face traffic, and then two, because if I'm walking the sidewalk, it's easy for somebody to come up on me. But anyhow, all safety, baby, all safety. But, and this is not safe, of course, because look at my surroundings. This is not safe. Not at all. But anyhow, so, they were teenagers, 13 to 16. The first person that caught my eye was the older person, right? So when I came out, I said, well, who are y'all fundraising for? And he says, Living Waters. And, I was like, oh. And I noticed he had like some printouts of Bible verses on them, like maybe 3 to 4 Bible verses. So I was like, oh, okay. And I said, what is that, a church? And he was like, oh, it's a foundation. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Where are you guys located? Well, he said to me, they're located out of in Atlanta in Tennessee. And I said, oh, so do y'all have an office down here or something? And it was really suspicious. He was like, no. And I said, well, what do y'all do down here? How do y'all help down here? He didn't really have an answer for that. So basically, it was like they were grifting, and they probably had a Georgia nonprofit, or whoever was running them. That person who ran things was out of sight, right? You couldn't see him anywhere. And if he was somewhere, he was somewhere out of view. And yeah, so so he was out of sight. And when I asked him what he do, he was like, oh, they help boys or whatever. I was like, okay. And both of the guys, the boys, were gay. They were gay. And it was like, all I kept thinking in my mind was sex trafficking. Like, they're not from here. And when I say sex trafficking, I'm gonna think of it this way. The way that I felt like these are boys, just like when they had that cult where it was some guy from Atlanta, and he had all these children, and he was sleeping with the girls and all this young girls. Those boys this is the thought that went through my head. The boys, whoever was running that thing, was like basically trafficking these boys and had them whatever, and then had them go out there and raise funds for them and whatever. Because the little flyer they had didn't have an address on it, a company name, nothing. And I was just like, just everything in me was like, no, But I continued on, and it was funny because the older boy, he communicated. The younger boy was sitting on the other side of the pole, and he was watching me, and not watching me like, he was watching me in a way like, he was gonna say some real effed up stuff, like that woman was cursing, back in that yard video, like that. That's what he was looking at me like, So And the thing that got me about it was that people were probably dropping donations or whatever, not knowing where these people are from, where they're located, who they are, nothing. Probably just making an assumption they're with a school or a church somewhere and left it at that. So, I don't know. You know, I could get nosy and call the store and ask them, hey, who did y'all have sitting out there and how do you whatever? But, you know, I really don't have time to do that. But it scared me. You know, and I wish I didn't have my phone on me at the time, but I wish I did, because I wish I could have recorded in the moment. Because in the moment, those were some of the feelings I had, but it's not strong the way I'm putting them out there now. And then I was mad at myself because I'm like, I have a whole real nonprofit, a real one. Not something fake, not something that I just made up and decided I'm gonna sit on the side of a street with a can, you know, and I haven't went and done any fundraising or anything like that. But I need to, you know. But the thing is, you know, I want to be credible, you know. But here's a whole person that says they're fundraising. You see the children's faces, you don't see the adult behind it. And, you know, and maybe this is the next question I should ask. Who's the adult here? Who's the adult here? Is there an adult here that's managing this? Can I see the adult? I would like to talk to him, you know. But I have a whole real nonprofit. And, you know, I'm feeling a certain type of way because these folks are scamming people. And I know that I'm genuine. But yet, you know, I'm not sitting in front of a grocery store anywhere, which is probably what I should be doing, you know. So, you know, and I can't be scared. I can't say, well, because, oh, I'm not driving now. When I was driving, what was the excuse? Oh, I need to get all this money up. I need to do this, you know. So there's no time like now, you know. And then the other thing, nonprofit thing that got me earlier today, I walked past this place, and I told y'all about it before. It's something called Soul Patrol in Valdosta, Georgia. It's not real. Like I said, I talked about it before. They have a house out here. That's when nobody lives there. It's just a house specifically for office purposes. And again, like I said, I'll down myself because I'm like, okay, well, my business is located supposedly out in my home, right? So my business is located supposedly in my home, but you know, there's no traffic going in and out of my house or anything like that, right? So you know, I was like, I can't blame them. Maybe they're just trying to get stuff together. No, they've been there for a while. And not only that, the police department actually gave them some cars to do that whatever patrol. I seen that car like maybe once driving down the street twice, and that place, there's nobody there, and it says free social services and counseling, whatever. There's nothing there. And I happened to walk past today, and when I walked past today, I actually saw cars there and the door was open. I was shocked, and I was like, hey, do you work here? And I didn't look at the person's vehicle at first. And she was like, yeah, I work here. Beat up older woman, probably 50, 60. And she was coming out of place. And she was like, but she was just like, oh, because I had my red cart with me because I was going grocery shopping. And she was just like, oh, but we're not doing a food bank. And I was like, ma'am, that's not why I'm here. The reason that I wanted to speak to her, because I wanted to find out how were they able to get those vehicles through the police department. They got them free. 3 or 4 of them. I've only seen one, and I've seen that one like maybe 2 or 3 times since they got whatever rewarding they got. But then I looked at that, and the bigger picture is this. The city of Valdosta just got awarded a whole bunch of money for pedestrian improvements or whatever, and because they said they like the job they're doing. But let me show you something. There's no sidewalk on this side of the street. So they're not doing anything either. So it's all hand in hand. So it made me wonder, the Soul Patrol, because it has a pro-black name, sounds good. And if you're not from here, it'll look real good. Just like the NAACP, when I was going through my thing, it's just a figurehead company. When I was going through my thing, I tried reaching out to the NAACP many times. You get a voicemail, or the voicemail's full. You can never ever get to someone. You can email, you never ever get a response unless they think it's money in it for them. And I was told that before I ever thought I would ever have a need for them back in 9th grade. So these are things over the past few days that came to me, and it made me realize that, you know, really, you know, even if you have anything, if you have nothing, you know, what you do have is that your heart is pure. You know, these people you know, and, you know, I try to look at myself too, because what the lady said to me was, oh, you know, I'm getting ready for a barbecue tomorrow. So are you just taking the funds to make a barbecue that the community doesn't know about? You know what I mean? It's like I've seen them do absolutely nothing in the community. And then what hit me hard is when that girl, and she probably didn't mean this because she probably don't even know that I, you know, have a nonprofit, and that's not good either. So I need to get out there, and that's what God is telling me. Get out there. If you got to carry your board, your folding chair on your red wagon, and take it to the store and let them know that that's what you're doing, then that's what you need to do, you know? Because it's hard, you know? And when I went to Salvation Army today, and, you know, I went to pick up, because I was spending money via my credit card on food and stuff. So I went to see, and what I'm doing, and I was talking about this earlier, so we're circling back around, is stockpiling, you know, whatever food I can. Because, you know, it does look like things make it a little intentionally not good. It's intentional, you know, when you see the food not in the grocery stores. It's not because there's a food shortage. They're intentionally letting food rot, so there won't be any. So I got to get it together. And I'm encouraging other people to do that too. If you know where food banks are, go. If you're not working on the days that they're distributing food, go stockpile some food, please. You know. But I went there, and when I went there, it gave me access because she told me to go sit in the day room. I'm like, what is that? You know, while I wait, you know. And I wanted to talk to her about other stuff that, you know, about, you know, nonprofit stuff like that. But then you have to be careful too, because again, casting your pearls before swine. But you still have to speak. So I go, you know, how my heart leads me. Because sometimes if you don't, and that's a bad thing, you know, if you look like this, and by the time you walk 10 miles, it looks a lot worse in the hot sun, you know, it takes away credibility. You know, people turn their noses. And maybe it's for a reason, because maybe after 10 miles in the sun, perhaps you have some natural scent that's going on. But no, really, you know, it's like, you know, how could you be this person? It's like, how could you be this person if, so I'm walking past this ghetto ass apartment complex, and there's somebody standing in the dark making some noise to get your attention to turn around. So I turned around, of course, to be aware of some of my surroundings. And it's someone that I don't know who it is, but from the tone and the way they're talking, I obviously do not want to be the one to talk to them. But I did need to be aware of my surroundings, and that's why I looked, okay? And I'm saying this out loud so they can know that, hey, I see them, and I'm recording somewhere. So there you go. But, yeah. So, you know, so that's the thing, though. I think part of it, because I understand perceptions that are out there, and part of it is that I have to work to change those perceptions. Will I always have a voice? That's one of the things that the nonprofit talks about, you know, being a voice for the members of society. And that's me, you know. So these are all things important to me, because these are things that affect me directly. You know, these are things that I've experienced firsthand, you know. These are things that I want to make. Now, what is this? So these are things that I want to make better, not only for myself, but for other people that may be in like or similar situations. So again, you know, very important to me, you know. And maybe that's the other thing, you know. Like I said, if I speak about it looking the way that I look, you know, even if it's a person that may seem to be homeless or a crackhead, because I look like I'm homeless, I'm a crackhead too, but I'm not, never used drugs, have been homeless, but court ordered, and intentionally so after the court order, because I wanted to make sure, I didn't want to build anything for myself, you know. A lot of years passed by, and I'm still happy about my life, you know, because again, it's an opportunity, you know. And do I know everything I need to know? No, absolutely not. I'm learning as I go along, you know. And you know, I hope to do well. And this guy told me, I got some valuable information. He's telling me about some lady. She doesn't have a business, but out of her home on Saturdays, she just distributes food, you know. And hopefully, like I said, yes, tomorrow was supposed to be the day that I stay in and clean, because I have a washer dryer coming. Supposedly, I got a lot of stuff I got to do. And then with all that equipment, facilitating the return of this, that, and the other, communicating with these people, making sure they're communicating with me and finalizing, and then they have it blocked. And I got something for them, though, if they got it blocked where I can't communicate, you know, so they can, that stuff has got to go back, you know. But If I have to send things through the regular mail to say, hey, I'm trying to email you this, but this is what's happening, then that's what I'm going to have to do, you know. Fax, whatever I got to do, that's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing, you know, no problem. Have no problem with any of it. But it's, you know, it's my business. I got to take care of it, you know. And not business as far as capitalism business, but my business as far as my concerns, my affairs, and, you know, just part of my happy life that I got to continue to live and enjoy. So, yeah. And then some other things that my eyes were opened up to. So, yeah, but back to that lady. And I talked about the other things. So I was going to talk about, you know, there was a TikTok trend about, you know, what's the biggest scam? There's such a scam that people don't realize it's a scam anymore. And they were saying the U.S. But a lot of these things we already know, you know, but we let them be, you know, how the food is poison, all this. If you look like, I think North Korea had a documentary, and I was so scared to watch it because it was North Korea, and, you know, the U.S. has a big thing about that. But a documentary on how basically U.S. are just poison. We eat poisonous foods and we just shop. It's just spending money, slaving, spending money. And it was true. When I watched it, I was like, why was I so scared to watch this? You know? And that's a lot of things that, you know, the information is blocked on where there's a lot of hype to try to prevent you from seeing or listening to something. It's simply because it's true, you know? Propaganda, you know? But it's true. So it was written off as propaganda, but it's true. You can see it. But they were saying there were absolutely no lies told, you know? So it's definitely true. I'm just keeping myself busy while I'm walking by now by talking, but yeah. Yeah, but that's what they were saying. It's basically a huge scam, and how, you know, the food that we have here, none of the other countries would sell because it's intentionally poisoned. You know, the water, rainwater, they told us a long time ago we can't drink rainwater, but people were actually collecting rainwater, testing it, and it tested better than what came out of the tap, you know. And then also I use my Brita water filter. Usually I have the filter that's connected directly to the faucet, but I have the picture, and the residue that's around the rims, I think that it looks like aspirin, you know. But hey. But yeah, so that woman does it out of her house, and she did it so well that she got raving reports in the news. You know, I don't know her personally, but maybe tomorrow I'll go. You know, it's so funny how, you know, and now I'm going to have probably too much food now, but I'm going to go because I want to see who this woman is, see how she operates, and if there's something that I can learn or perhaps, you know, inadvertently be mentored by, that's what I'll do, because that's who I want to be. You know, if you watch TikTok and you watch videos where, you know, these people are giving out, like this one guy go ask up to people in the streets, like performers and things like that, and ask them what their favorite food is. He'll go and prepare it and bring it back to them. You know, there's another one, and there's a couple of new ones like him that I'm talking about that kind of mimic themselves after Jimmy Dar. That's who I believe in my soul and my spirit I am. But see, the thing that's hard for me about going and advertising mine, like I said, I don't mind walking. I like it. But if I carry a folding table and a chair or my red cart to the local place and sit out front, people are going to think I'm soliciting for myself. You know what I'm saying? And it takes away the credibility because people are silly like that. But those little boys that was out there, that probably some trafficker dropped them off in a van or something, you know, nobody asked them any questions. But for me, with somebody that's of pure intent, it may not go that way, but I can't give up. I got to keep trying, you know, and whatever way I put it out, I put it out. But then I have to have time. Just like now when I get home, I always have cleaning to do, but this is crucial now, and I got to get that. I got to get my communications closed to the point where I can get that equipment out of here and make a determination of, you know, the furthest date out that I can set so that, you know, if I decide to go back, I can, you know. But yeah, so, but all in all, you know, just like Louis Armstrong said, you know, I have my good days. I've had my bad days, but my good days outweigh my bad days. You know, I can't complain. That's how I feel. You know, I've had some, I was about to say, is that my house with the light? It better not be my house. I can't complain. I really enjoy my life. I'm happy about it. Happy, you know. Do I know there's a lot of things in this world that I don't know? Yeah, absolutely. Things that, the majority of people are accustomed to, and things that are just weird for everybody, because I think we're all being exposed to different things now. But I really, does anybody else feel like that? Like they really absolutely enjoy life? I mean, I really do. Listen to this. Even though this is not always the best neighborhood, it has its moments. Listen to the peace. And when I say that, that's what happened last time. I talked about listen to the peace, and that's when all craziness broke out. But yeah, I love this. I love like these peaceful walks. I love learning things. I love learning new things. I love everything. I do. You know, this is a very peaceful moment for me. But overall, I love life a lot. I'll give it a 8.5. 8.5. And if I want to overtalk it, I'll say 9. But definitely good experiences. Anyways, I'm home. So there you go. I'm home. I love you guys. Need love. If you don't need love and you can afford it, try to sprinkle this. And love to me is education and knowledge and respect and positive thoughts. If you can afford to, bless somebody else with what you got, and if you need some, the love I have for me, I'll sprinkle some out there to you. So anyways, I'm out. This umbrella that I walk right into. All right, so I'm glad this is an end, because as I got